Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GinJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Tuesday, November 26th. A couple days away from Thanksgiving. If you missed the shows yesterday, it will be a little bit of an abbreviated week. We'll not have any content Thursday, probably not on Friday either. We'll try to get something out Saturday before the game. The Jaguars do play a game this weekend, despite being 2-9, despite all the turmoil within the building. The Jaguars are hosting the Houston Texans. So just a little bit of housekeeping there. But today we're going to talk about which Jaguars players are actually performing, which Jaguars players are playing football that if maybe there was better organizational structure, if maybe there was better coaching, if maybe there were more players playing like these guys, you would have a winning football team, right? And we can go ahead and talk about Trevor Lawrence real quick. I think he has played winning football for the most part this year. Obviously, he's not playing right now. He did return to practice on Monday. We'll see what the update is on him tomorrow. If he's going to continue practicing, if he's going to trend towards potentially playing. The Jaguars have been dead in the water without him in the game. Bottom line. I mean, the Jaguars offense has been horrendous without Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones just does not offer much hope for this football team to win football games. And I know some folks are going to say, oh, we don't want to win football games. Okay. Some people want to win games still. Some people would like to see the Jaguars win football games and play entertaining football down the stretch. That's ultimately what it's all about, is playing games worth watching, right? And I know the Jaguars are 2-9. I know they can't have a winning record this year. But there's still fans that are going to go to games and want to see good football. And so Trevor Lawrence gives them the best opportunity to play good football at quarterback, certainly offers hope for the offense. And look, things haven't been perfect around him. He hasn't been perfect. Coaching hasn't been good at all. Injuries, Christian Kirk being out, Evan Ingram missing a lot at the beginning of the season. There's been a lot of different factors that have made Trevor Lawrence's performance this year not as shiny as it could be, but I think given the circumstances, he's played pretty well overall. I do. But getting to players that are actually playing right now, for sure, which is most of the team. Doug Peterson shared with us yesterday that everyone's going to be practicing except for Yasir Abdullah. So trending towards, being pretty healthy here in terms of the 53. Brian Thomas Jr., he's playing very well for a rookie. I think that's something that everyone can agree on. He is fast. He is big. He's got length, explosiveness. He's made some incredible plays down the field. The Jaguars still need to get him more and more involved. I asked Doug Peterson yesterday if that's the plan moving forward, how he's doing. He had the chest contusion a few weeks back, said he's doing good. Yes, it's their plan to keep getting him the ball more and more and more. Now, how can Brian Thomas Jr. improve the back half or, back 6 games of this rookie year for him? To me, what you would like to see from him is more consistency with the hands. He doesn't have a lot of drops. I think his drop rate is 8.7%. And for someone who is running so many downfield routes, that's really not a bad number. Could it improve? Yeah. I mean, ideally, when you're talking about a number one receiver playing at the peak of their game, you want to be under 6% for me. 8.7 is a little high, but it's certainly not egregious, right? But you also do have a lot of double catches. And you want just to be able to have a little bit more focus, bringing those passes in. I think you also would like to see a little bit more I guess I would just say being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there on every route. And that's something all rookies deal with. You got to grow. But 2 of Trevor Lawrence's interceptions this year were over the middle of the field. Brian Thomas kind of doing an over route and him not being at the right depth. And that leading to passes that look like they're horrible passes by Trevor Lawrence, but it's really just the receiver's not in the right place at the right time. So continue to improve on that. But Brian Thomas Jr., man, what a great pick. Trent Baalke, for all the flack we give him, and it's deserved. I think he's done a really good job with the last 2 first-round picks. Really, last 2. Trayvon Walker has developed into a very good player. Still was not the pick that should be made. Aiden Hutchinson should have been the pick, but Trayvon Walker has turned into a very good player. But the last 2 first rounds, being able to trade back, acquire that value, and get players like Brian Thomas Jr. and Anton Harrison, those were 2 impressive moves by Trent Baalke. You got to give him a little bit of credit there. Tank Bigsby, I think, is playing well. Now, did not play last week and against the Vikings. It's really difficult for anyone on offense to perform at the level they need to without Trevor Lawrence on the field. It's difficult. Bottom line, it's difficult to have confidence, inspiration. It's difficult for the coaches to call the game, all that stuff without Trevor out there. But I think Tank Bigsby, he's also been battling through a little bit of injury, but he's been really good this year overall. Makes people miss in space. I think his vision has improved. I think his hands have improved. I think his pass pro has improved, although these are areas you want to continue to see growth from Bigsby. He's in year 2. He can continue to grow into year 3 and year 4 for this Jaguars football team, but his ability to play physical, to play tough, downhill, be creative as a runner, force missed tackles, he's been fun to watch. And you hope he's healthy, and you hope that this offensive line, and you hope Trevor Lawrence is back. You hope Tank Bigsby is fully healthy, and you hope this offensive line can open up some holes for him. And speaking of the offensive line, I think Ezra Cleveland, no one has played at like a Pro Bowl level on the offensive line. And I honestly, I think a lot of these players could perform better in, a different scheme. And I'm not saying scheme for the sake of scheme, in a different coaching environment, in a different offense. I think a lot of these players could perform at a little bit higher level. Again, because I just don't think the Jaguars have done a good job coaching up this offense at all. But Ezra Cleveland, I think that he's done, fairly well in pass pro, and I really like the presence he has in the run game as someone who will push the pile, as someone who can create some push off the line of scrimmage, as someone who can move to the second level. I just think he brings a physicality and a toughness that you really like to see at guard, left guard there. So the Jaguars have him under contract for 2 years after this. There's a team out following 2025, but the way he's playing, I have no problem keeping him around. For the remainder of that deal, depending on how things end up playing out. Anton Harrison, I think, had a really rough start to the season. Over the last 5 weeks or so, he's done a lot better. And heading into season number 2 for him, the knock was, we need to improve in the run blocking department. But that wasn't just a knock on him. That was a knock on pretty much the entire offensive line. And I think that's still the case. There's been flashes, there's been moments this year where the offensive line has done a much better job as a unit run blocking, but overall, it's still not great. Anton Harrison did well last week in the run blocking department, but the Jags didn't run it all that much. Over the last 5 games, Anton Harrison has averaged allowing less than 2 pressures a game. He's allowed only 1 sack. He's played better football. He had a rough couple games to start the year. And I think he's settled in, played better ball, and he's somebody I think you can feel good about moving forward. Still a very exciting pick, an exciting young player. Folks forget how young he was. He had just turned 21, I believe, when the Jaguars drafted him. So very young talent, still ascending. Walker Little, wanted to talk about him. Over the last 2 weeks, he's been dynamite in pass protection, and I know my buddy Jason from Jaguars United's like, oh, well, there were no pass pro reps. That's not true. They had 32 in, against Minnesota. They had 28 against the Lions. So he had a completely clean sheet on, 60 pass pro reps over the last 2 weeks. That's impressive. And a couple weeks before that weren't great, playing against the Eagles and, some tough defenses, right? I think Walker Little is trending in the right direction. I think what continues to play out here will really determine his future. And I'm not just saying with the Jaguars, like if he has a really strong stretch to end this season, and you can look at him playing left tackle this year, him playing left tackle last year to start the season, and then him finishing out 2022 as the left tackle when Cam Robinson was injured. If you combine all those games, it's almost a full season, and you kind of have a picture of what Walker Little can be if you're another team looking for a left tackle or if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so this is going to be a big 6 games for him. I think, again, he's played very well the last couple weeks. In each of the first 2 games, he was starting for Cam Robinson, and he started most of the Patriots game too. He's played well. He's had 3 clean sheets. He's had some moments. I mean, I know Josh Sweat put him on his butt, but I like the physicality he brings in the run game. I like his athleticism. I like his size, length. I mean, we'll see. We'll see with Walker a little bit. I think he's definitely played well the last 2 weeks. And then the rest of the offensive line, to me, it's playing okay. And the rest of the offensive line being Mitch Morris at center and Brandon Sheriff at right guard. Both of those guys doing a decent job in pass pro overall. Not perfect, not great. Again, I think better coaching could go a long way. And I've always liked Phil Rauscher as an offensive line coach, the energy he brings, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking. The same way you can say it just doesn't seem to be clicking from the top down on the offensive side of the ball from a coaching standpoint. So we're going to get into defense and special teams here. But first, got to remind y'all to check out Underdog Fantasy for Pick'em and a whole lot more. You can use code Duval Daily and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash Pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit on their easy-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. This season, Underdog is running a special promo or bonus almost every single day. Like Profit Boost, you can pump up your winnings in just a tap when you apply the boost to eligible entries. There are tons of options coming up for Jaguars and Texans. Maybe you want to pick a running back to score. Maybe you want to look at Joe Mixon, Tank Bigsby. Who knows? Maybe Travis Etienne can find the end zone. Underdog has vulture protection to rescue your pick'em. Helps me out a ton personally. If your running back gets vultured, they'll rescue your pick'em for you. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Duval Daily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you're supporting us. So, defense. Who is playing well? You know, I think it's a top-down situational, organizational thing with this football team. And there's some guys that probably could be playing much better if they were in different situations. So I hate to really be negative about anyone that's not performing at their best, because I think coaching should be a lot better than it is. But looking at the guys that are playing well, not a ton, but Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, they are both absolutely playing very, very well. These 2 guys, very, very good run defenders on the edge. And that's huge. In this league, the way it's currently set up defensively, so many teams run these 2 high shells, and that basically means you have a light box against the run. So a ton of teams are starting to just try to pound the rock. There's one less body in the box, right? Both safeties out of the box. That's going to make it easier for you to run, and so teams are trying to get more downhill, more physical, more run-oriented, and in a lot of situations, gap scheme, power runs. And Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker really helped the Jaguars to not be as susceptible to this kind of trend towards running the ball so much. Now, the Jaguars' run defense as a whole has not been great, but Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen are doing their job in that regard. And then when it comes to the pass rush, it is so incredibly difficult to rush the passer at an extremely high level and an efficient level when teams are just trying to run the ball, when teams are just keeping your offense off the field, when you're losing. it's tough, right? But Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker are both doing a really good job. Josh Hines Allen is in the top 10 in the NFL in pressures. Trayvon Walker is in the top 20 in pressures, top 20 in sacks, and top 10 in stops. So these guys are performing at a high level. They're not in the best situation to rush the passer consistently. They don't have much help from the interior. They have very weird rotations up front. You know, Eric Armstead not playing on the interior more is still one of the most baffling things that I've seen in a while. And this is a franchise that does baffling things consistently. So it's rough. These guys are not in the best position to succeed. Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. Yet they continue to play good football for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bottom line. Foye Oluokun. What a stud. Team leader, captain, great football player. Continues to be one of those guys that leads the NFL in tackles, that leads this team in, big plays on third down. He's solid in coverage. He's solid against the run. He's athletic. He's smart. He's where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. He is the model of consistency and a player that I think the Jaguars should try to keep around for as long as they possibly can, even though he plays a devalued position. To me, Foye is cream of the crop. And look, I know people want to talk about Ventrell and Devin and who should be starting. Right now, I think that they both have enough inconsistencies, especially in coverage, that neither of them is really helping a ton. Yeah, Ventrell Miller brings some thump, some pop to run defense. I think Devin Lloyd's a more consistent run defender. Down to down. And I know people don't want to hear that. I don't think either of them is playing well enough. If you had somebody else who could match Foye Oluokun's consistency, you could really be cooking at linebacker, but you don't have that right now. Jarian Jones, for a rookie, is playing really well. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but for a rookie, some of the big plays he's making, the way he's defending the run and being aggressive from that nickel spot, I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. And I think the Jaguars got themselves a guy that can start at nickel for a long time. And they also have themselves a guy that can start outside at corner for a very long time, and that's Tyson Campbell, who's playing good football. He's always been a really good run defender. He's always had length, speed. I think that he is more confident right now than he's been in a while, and it's showing. He's playing consistent in coverage. What he did playing against Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and those guys was really impressive. And yeah, the Lions had themselves a day. I don't really blame Tyson Campbell for that. I think he's living up to his contract. I really do. That takes us to special teams. What do we got? Cam Little, rookie kicker. I need to pull up. I know objectively he is playing well, but I need to pull up his stats. What's he been doing here? Cam Little, 19 of 19 on extra points, which I think he was perfect in college. So that's no surprise. 15 of 16 kicking field goals. Cam Little. How about the rookie? This guy, he's playing like a Pro Bowler. Bottom line. He's 4 of 4 from 20 to 29. Hasn't even attempted one inside 20, but 4 of 4 from 20 to 29, 4 of 4 from 30 to 39, 4 of 5 from 40 to 49, which ironically is the area that he needed to have just a little bit of improvement coming out of college consistency-wise, and he's 3 of 3 from 50 plus. Gotta love it. He's doing a good job on kickoffs too. Punting, Logan Cook, he's the best punter in the league. He might be the best punter ever. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but he has the best net average in NFL history, punting the ball. 51 yards per punt, 46 net, a long of 73. He has 24 inside the 20. He's doing a fantastic job. And then Ross Matisic, the long snapper, doing a great job himself, right? So you got to give all those guys big-time shout-outs. You absolutely do. And I think you can look at a couple of the linebackers doing a really good job on special teams as well. Coverage. Ventrell's doing a good job in coverage. Caleb Johnson as well. Racking up the tackles. So, look, Jaguars, very disappointing football team. Very disappointing organization. But there's some dudes playing some good football that deserve a lot of respect and deserve shout outs, and that's what we're here to do here today. So, really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out jinjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear like the hat I'm wearing right now. Become a channel member here on YouTube. Y'all have a good one.